This story's title is The Light in the Fog. Ellen was 17 when the fog first settled in. It didn't arrive all at once. It was slow, creeping in silently like the morning mist on a cold wintry day. At first she thought she was tired. School was exhausting, friendships were draining, and her thoughts were like heavy raindrops clinging to her skin. She would stare at the ceiling at night, unsure why her chest felt so heavy, why her eyes felt like they wanted to cry but wouldn't. People called her quiet, moody, dramatic. She heard them laugh behind her back when she turned down party invitations or skipped group chats, but what they didn't see was that she was ignoring them. She was trying to keep herself from falling apart. Every morning, getting out of bed felt like climbing a mountain. Brushing her hair was a battle. Smiling felt like wearing a mask that didn't quite fit her face anymore. Her parents noticed a little. They asked questions like, "What's wrong with you?" And "Why can't you just be happy?" But Ellen didn't know the answers. She didn't want to feel this way. She didn't want to wake up dreading the day ahead, but something inside her, some invisible weight made her moment feel suffocating. At evening, she sat on the floor of her room, hugging her knees, tears rolling silently down her cheeks. Her chest ached, not from heartbreak, but from nothingness, an emptiness that wrapped around itself around her, like a blanket she couldn't shake off. That night, she wrote in her journal, something she hasn't done in months. "I feel broken. I don't know why. I want to scream, but I don't have the energy. I want someone to understand, but I don't know how to explain it. I just want this to stop." That journal entry saved her life, because the next day her little brother Leo found it accidentally. He was only 11, but he knew something was wrong. He didn't say anything right away. He just started sitting with her more quietly, leaving little notes on her desk. "You're awesome," or "I'm here if you're sad." He'd bring her a cookie and draw little silly cartoons that slid them under her door. And Ellen noticed. The fog didn't lift right away. Depression doesn't work like that, but in the tiny gestures, it's the cookies, the doodles, the silent companionship. A flicker of light started to form in her darkness. Eventually, one afternoon, she sat down with her mother and whispered, "I think I need help." The words felt terrifying, but also freeing. Her mother didn't understand it all, but she listened this time, really listened. They went to a doctor, then a therapist. Ellen started attending sessions where she slowly learned that depression wasn't a weakness or a flaw. It was something that needed care, like a wound. Like other illnesses, it deserved treatment, support, and patience. Therapy was hard. Talking about her feelings made her uncomfortable. There were days she wanted to quit, but then there were days she learned new tools. How to quit the inner criticism in her head, how to name her emotions, how to forgive herself for not always being okay. And some days she even smiled for real. She started journaling again, not just about sadness, but about hope. She drew sketches of her dreams. She walked in the park again. She laughed with Leo. She found music that made her feel something. Not sadness, not numbness, but alive. One day, as she stood by her window, watching the rain, she realized something. The fog hadn't disappeared, but it was thinned. And although it was there was light, faint flickering, but it was there. She still had bad days, but the thing about depression, It doesn't vanish like a storm, but now she has an umbrella, and some days even sunshine. And most importantly, she had found her ways to say, I'm not alone.